Hey, well, okay, Chris, can you hear me? We're trying something else now. StreamYard, can you hear me? Can't hear you if you are talking. Fun and games with technology, guys. Okay, so you can hear me. I can't hear you if you are talking. All right, well, I see your screen. How do I share my screen? You know what? You know what? If you want to just take this for the rest of the day, I don't care. I mean, you want to, I mean, I know there's a big load on you. It's only 120, but I see your screen, no problem. I have no idea how to share my screen. Share. It's pretty simple. Thing is, I still see your screen. Sorry, guys, I'm talking to Chris Varley. We're trying another streaming method. There we go. So now I'm able to share my screen. Problem is we have to send the link out to everybody. But at least I can do it. There you are. There it is. All right, AMLX. You guys were talking about AMLX. By the way, just keep an eye on this next, okay? I mean, it is holding 6 very nicely, very, very nicely, okay? Longer it holds, you get some volume coming in. The next high looking left might be a little too close, though. Might be getting into a lot of support problems or resistance areas here now. You know, you got 620, you have 623 right here, and you have 654 here. It may really struggle to get much further. Yeah, I have to admit, Rada was my miss today. Rada was definitely a miss by me today. We saw this pop early, and then I just got a little fairly steadily. I mean, 44 million in the float, so fairly steadily. And of course, this is an all-time high. The other one to really keep an eye on, I mean, it is basing beautifully just under 16. I mean, I think the spread is tightened up too. I think it is tightened up. All right, guys. Well, I don't know if anybody's in YouTube. We're trying a different streaming, and I am able to display my screen. So I have no idea, though, if I'm looking at comments. I don't see any comments. Let me just do a test, see if that works. Pepe, maybe you can help me here. You can see fine. How about a comment, Ori? We're not talking about. I'm not talking about this room here. I'm not talking about the main room. I'm talking about YouTube. I just want to see. Can I see comments though? I typed in a comment here. It says test. I want to see if anybody else, so I can at least follow along. Give me a moment here, guys. I'm just trying to do one last thing. I see. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Just have to be a little smarter than the technology. Gotcha. I now see the comments. Thank you. I was in the private. Okay. Excellent. Hey, guys. And by the way, look at PIC. Look at PIK. Maybe this is it. Maybe it's going to run now, guys. PIK. Problem might be that VWAP, but if it gets through that VWAP, look out. Remember, it did get up to what, 618 earlier on in the day. Okay, I do see your. Now, how do I make a comment? Yeah, the only issue I've got with next is this potential resistance, not that far away. I mean, between here and 650. But hey, listen, I mean, it's in the right sector, obviously. All right, pick. Here's the critical area, guys. Critical area. It's through the VWAP now. Pick PIK through the VWAP. Now, can it continue? Oh, look at pick now, guys. My goodness. Big, big run now. Could it do it? At least get over 6. Yeah, it's my vacuum. Yes, my little robot at work.
All right, test here. Barry, can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah,
So
sorry, I
maybe let's
haven't
try
used
to.
StreamYard in a minute.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that, and guys, I'm going to put, no, I can't put myself on mute in the main room. Yes, I can. I'm going to mute myself in the main room, guys. I'm trying to figure out how to get the StreamWorks working so that maybe we don't use OBS anymore. But let me just, I'm going to mute myself in the main room. Okay, Chris, so yeah, so you see what I see. I don't see how I can post anything. You know, if you see what I'm seeing, I've got it all the way stretched down. Is there something else I'm supposed to do? This is what I mean. So I'm not going crazy, am I?
No, I don't know why you don't.
And I did see the screenshot that you had, and it looks obvious. You
Yeah,
just
because
had.
Steve has it as well, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm zooming
Now,
in to what you got.
is there a way to pop out the chat? Is there a way to pop it out, or do I have to have the whole thing up? Like OBS, at least one nice thing I can pop the strat, or on
Yeah.
YouTube I can pop the chat out. Because I don't want to have
Yeah.
to I don't want to have to look at everything. I suppose I can. No, well, I guess I can kind of do that.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now.
But the screen sharing is way easier.
Yeah,
It's like the trading room, you
and
know,
we
and you
can
just
bring people in and out much easier than with OBS too.
okay. Well, I'm game. I mean, I'm not. It's just that OBS was working, you know, pretty well for months. It's just today, for whatever reason, the stream key seems to have disappeared, but that whole area is grayed out also. Now, for instance, here, is there a way that I can mute myself in the room but keep talking to you? I guess not, right? In
No,
StreamWorks. Yeah, okay.
no.
So everybody in YouTube, you're listening to us trying to fix this issue.
They get an inside peek here, so I don't
That's
see a way
right.
to pop out the chat, unfortunately.
All right.
But I'm not an expert on this either.
Well, how can I not be? Well, Steve is saying I'm not permission for chat, but I mean, I can see the chats, I can private chat, and obviously I can share my screen. So I mean, what other permissions do I need?
You shouldn't need any other permission, but what we can do in the after hours or on Monday morning is I can walk you through just logging into StreamYard, and you can start the stream on your end. I know Steve can. Steve had the chat working. I thought he did.
Mm-hmm. Well, the bottom line is I can see the posts. So if somebody asks me a question, I can answer. I just won't be able to text. I won't be able to drop any links in, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing you could do is you could open YouTube. That's what I do most of the time when I'm running with OBS is I just have YouTube open with logged into my account and post into the YouTube chat directly, and you can
But
pop the
that was
YouTube chat out.
the problem. I couldn't do it because it wasn't letting me.
You can't log into your YouTube account.
Well, let me just see here. See if I can. What happens when I? All right. Okay. I did pop out in YouTube. I just typed in test, but I don't see anybody else there. If that's the way I can follow the chat, then that's great.
And
Did you see what I
then you
did?
can minimize all of StreamYard. I don't see it in there. You're in the YouTube live stream right now.
Well, it says excellent connection. Streams. It says stream setup help. This is what I just did. Just do a little screenshot for you. So that's the pop out in YouTube. Okay, and I'm looking, and it does say excellent connection, stream setup.
Okay, but
But
is
it
that
does
through
say,
OBS?
well, I don't know. Now it says connect streaming software to go live, but
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
in the back channel if you're going to connect to OBS. If you
Okay.
just go to, I dropped a link in Slack for you of the actual stream.
Well, I'm in the stream, right? Because you can see my screen. So I am in the stream.
No. But I mean, watch it through YouTube. Like if you were
Oh, I
logged
see.
into the YouTube itself, the channel, not the back section of it.
Okay. Okay, now I see.
And just make sure you don't have the volume on YouTube, otherwise you'll get forever repeating echoes.
Okay, yeah, I just yeah, Hossein, I know we're having an issue trying to get this thing working in YouTube now. So sorry about this.
You get a back
Yeah,
channel glance
I
here.
am getting the echo.
So yeah, just mute YouTube. In the YouTube channel where you are right now.
Yeah, you think I know how to do that?
Bottom left.
Bottom left. Oh man, I feel like an idiot. I just don't see the mute in the bottom left. Maybe I'm looking the wrong. We shouldn't be doing this, I suppose, live, but
Lets everybody know we're human. So do you have the YouTube page up itself? Yeah, so you're still on the back end of it all.
okay. Well, this is the YouTube.
Leave there and then come to this link that I just sent you in Slack.
Okay, done. I just muted it.
All right, perfect.
Now I figured out where you wanted me to do this. Okay.
Right, and you can
Maybe we're
pop
good
out
to
the
go now.
chat there.
Yeah.
And then you can just minimize StreamYard completely and you're good. What I need to figure out still is how to, because what your screen sharing is doesn't have the mic on it for some reason. I'm not sure how to, oh, you know what? Hold on.
Well, I'm
Haha,
gonna
I
put
fixed it.
put
Got
a
it.
little test in.
You're there. B. Bruin, now you're in your name.
Okay. I'm gonna shut down the other one. Okay, well, hey, let's see.
And you're admin on the channel. So if any of those Russian bots or whatever they are pop up, you can kick them still.
Okay. Okay, YouTubers, I think I'm back. That's okay, Pepe. That's okay. Good. We had to know. So that's what you're gonna. Okay, I'm gonna get back into sort of the trading. So thanks
Yeah.
very much, Chris. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I'm here if you
Thanks
need
very
me
much.
anything else, and I'll mute myself.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Pick. All right, so you can hear me well, and you can also see my screen well, right? In YouTube, guys. I just want to make sure so I don't have to worry about that anymore. I know in the main room everybody can see me or see my screen and hear me. So I just want to make sure that's perfect. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay, Chris, thanks. Basically, the limit on feature is you put a limit offset in, okay? So you could get out of every single trade all at once, okay? And with a limit offset. So in other words, you want to get out of a trade, but what if it's fast moving? So you create a limit offset of, say, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 cents, and it'll take you out of a trade up to that limit offset. Okay. This is good. I'm going to see if I can post better. So, okay, Theo, when you say how to set up the scanner, I'm going to drop a link in for you. First of all, I'm going to drop in my homepage link. Hopefully this works. Okay, so Theo, I just popped in my homepage link, okay? So what I would do is click on the link and you see where it says get started with trade ideas. If you're asking about setting up the scanner, that sounds like you're brand new. Take the time, spend 30 minutes on this video, okay? It's broken up into sections. Some of you, obviously you may not have to worry about the download and installation, but it is broken up into sections, startup and login, toolbar, layouts, okay? So when you say how to set up the scanner, I mean, that's a fairly general question. Okay, so are you talking about just setting up any sort of a price alert or an alert window? Again, you really should take a look at the guide also. So again, I don't know. Are you talking about like setting up any sort of alert from scratch? Pick guys, boy, this is yeah, flatten will just flatten you no matter what the price is, right? So you're at the mercy of the market, okay? But limit will only let you get out of the trade up to a certain point. In other words, you're the limit that you've put in. Oh, okay. Most explosive high volume trade alert. Okay. Well, you can take a look at this scan, Theo. Okay. So in the link, I mean, there's a couple things you can do, but number one, okay. I put my homepage link in. If you go to my homepage, and click on the scan section. One of the scans I am sharing is called Momo. Okay, these are stocks that are usually moving right now because the volume in the last minute has to be 1,000% of normal. Okay, so that is you can take a look at that. You could also go right to our channel bar. Just give me a moment here. You can also, if you click on on the toolbar, click on New, and then click on Docked Channel Bar, and then one of the channels is momentum. Okay, and if you click on it, this alert window is very very similar to the Momo that I've got in my look at next guys, next. Wow. So these are showing you stocks that are got some good momentum. Okay, so that's where I would start, Theo. And you can take this window and you can right click, duplicate into a free floating window. When you do that, and why I'm saying that, because you can take this window and then make it part of your layout. So you don't have to keep coming back to the channel. Okay, Grant. Okay, I'm glad you've got that, Theo. And any other questions, I am here. Just trying to get used to this new format of displaying in YouTube. You too, John. Yeah, LFLYs or the weed stocks coming back. The canvas plays coming back a little bit, maybe a little bit. LFLY. Well, all you have to do, I can't share it exactly. I mean, all you have to do is click on new. Just trying to listen. I could share it, but I think the better thing is to show you how you can do this because you may want to take other scans from our channels. Okay. So first of all, can you see me and see me? Can you hear me and see what I'm going to do? Just to show you how you can do it. Okay. And I'm talking to you, Luai. Okay. So click on new and then click on the docked channel bar. And that scan was in Momo. Okay. Momo, momentum. I hope it was anyway. Yeah, so the Extreme Master Blaster. Now, understanding what this is a multi-strategy window. So it's going to have, it has 5 strategies in it. Okay, well, strategy, alert windows. So here they are, extreme volume. I'm not sure why there's a duplicate. It must be, I don't know. I don't know why there's a duplicate there. Okay, so what you do now is, now that you have it on your screen, you right click, duplicate into free floating window. And this will take it out of the channel. So I'm going to right click and it popped up on my other screen and here it is. Okay. So now you can save it as part of your layout. You can first of all save it, to the cloud, right click, save to the cloud so that you always have it. And then you can incorporate it as part of your layout. Did I do? No, I want to make sure you got that, that it didn't go too quickly. And if you didn't get it, just let me know. Okay, good. And so that's the whole, why I wanted to show you that is because now you can go to the different channels. Okay. You may see another scan you like. Okay. And you do the same thing. You just right click on it and duplicate into a free floating window. Basically, you're just trying to get it out of the channel. So it floats. So it's a standalone. That's all you're trying to, that's all that does. Okay. And make sure you save everything, not just yourself. I'm sure there are other people that, would like to know all this. Save everything to the cloud. Because if I'd save that to the cloud, then if I went file load from cloud, I would see it right at the top here, okay? And I would highlight it, and then I can load it. So if I went through the different channels and started extracting scans that I might like, and save them to the cloud, once I'm done, then I can bring them back one at a time, thereby creating your own layout without actually having to create anything from scratch. All right, guys, sorry about that. Having a discussion within Trade Ideas, and you know, Chris, I think Michael is giving me a hard time. Guys, what are the things about my watch list? Yes, when I trade these, typically I'm not a swing trader. Okay, it's that simple. Why? Ah, I guess my mental makeup. Okay, I'd rather be out of things. Don't have to worry about anything happening overnight. Okay, it's just the way I am. But a lot of times, the things that are in my watch list could be swung if you want to. Usually they're picked because they've got some room. They've got room to move, and not all of them, but a lot of them will have some room to move. Look at Tel as an example. Why is Tel? Well, I mean, just look left. I mean, this has room to about 820 in theory. So I mean, if you took Tel from my watch list and you got in around 526 and it's at 567 now, and let's just say it closes well. And when I say closes well, it doesn't give it all back up, and collapses right back down to 5. Well, you could look at this and go, look at the room it's got. That's up to you. Okay, that's up to you. The fact that I may not, use this for swing trading doesn't mean that you or anybody else who is more in, looks at things in a different way than I do, you might want to say to yourself, hey, that looks really good. I am going to swing it. It's in the right, obviously, natural, gas, etc. It's in the right sector today anyway. That's up to you. Okay, guys, what time is it now? 1:59. Well, we're just getting closer to the end of this week. Your favorite, Para, Para. Yeah, I mean, that still is strong. I mean, it's still super, super strong. Look at this. I mean, what a great, not an IPO, spin-off, whatever you want to call it. But wow. Wow, wow, wow. Chris, you can hear me, right? Are you still in the room? NRXP, let's take a look at NRXP. I don't think much of it, to be honest, Theo. I mean, it's not doing anything today. So, I mean, it had its run, of course, a couple of days or a few days ago, a couple of weeks ago to 350, but nothing about it right now interests me. So sorry. The volume is nothing. It's only half normal. It's in a downtrend. Yeah, maybe a bottom has been, maybe, I don't know if it's been put in. It just doesn't, for me, it doesn't have enough room. I mean, even if you took it right now and you said, okay, the bottom's at 270, you took it right now. I mean, I look at this 3 level as being a real bear for it to get through. So that's just my opinion, of course, don't come after me if next week it hits $10. But seriously, I mean, that's it. Just I have no interest in something like this. Well, in stock, what's happening with the marijuana stocks, the cannabis plays. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, so it ran with the rest of them. That's all. So, I mean, when you say what woke it up, I mean, you could probably be hard pressed to find a cannabis play that didn't do this, at the end of the day, yesterday, and then had a nice pop in the pre-market. But they're coming back. Listen, I mean, if you're asking me, Theo, about Tilray, I mean, listen, you either believe or you don't believe that this is going to get past the legalization in your country. I'm from Canada, so in the United States, I have no special insight in whether that's going to happen or not. So that's the play. Do you believe it or not? I mean, obviously, if it happens, these things are going to explode. You might just want to look at MJ though. Never mind a specific stock. Just look at the cannabis ETF. I'm skeptical, though. I have to admit, I'm skeptical. We've seen this happen many, many times. You remember back here, I think the government was saying, your government was saying, yeah, it looks good. And let me just get back here, right about here. I mean, MJ went from 25 for it, 25, almost a double in about a month and a half. Okay, and then reality set in, and look at this. So I have no insight whether that's going to happen or not. So it's possible, perfect circle. I mean, sell the news and it could tank, but these are way at the bottom here. So I mean, let's face it. I mean, if it truly, truly were legalized, and I'm assuming legalization means getting over the banking issues that you guys have had in the States with cannabis. If it gets completely and utterly resolved, I mean, it's hard to believe that it won't at least have some pop. But again, no insight. Yeah, so Eric, I am not a backtesting expert, and if I don't think so, the advanced exit conditions. Yeah, I haven't used a backtester in probably 4 or 5 years, So I'm the wrong person to ask, but I do recall people asking that question, and I guess it's not available. So have you tried? In other words, have you tried to use the advanced exit conditions and it's not working? Because if it's not working, then there's your answer. But I can ask the question. Let me ask again the question. Have you tried and it's not working? Or is that the reason why you're asking, that you've tried and it's not working? And Chris, I think, is going to answer. Said, I haven't used a backtester, man, maybe 5 years. Okay, so here it is, Eric. Thank you. Chris is answering. You can use it. You can use it, but it will not translate to real life trading. Okay, so I guess that's the problem. So yeah, you can use it, but it why we have it there? If you can't use it in real life trading, then we probably should eliminate it. I'm answering that question too, Bill. I have this feeling you can't, but let me wait for an answer. Again, I'm not an auto trader. Okay, so oh, thank you, Chris. Okay, so you see that? So you cannot use a trailing stop. Okay, you cannot, Bill. You cannot use a trailing stop. It is disabled. Okay. Okay. Yes, you can. Okay. I thought you said it was disabled, but okay. No filters for trailing stops. Okay. Well, it's right above you, Eric. Right here. Can you not see? He's answering you. You've got a post, and then he's answering you right above you. Can you not see? He popped into the room. Just look up. Okay. Two areas in which I have zero experience: auto trading and backtesting. So Theo, when you say how do we find the profit target? So what exactly do you mean by that? Are you talking about what you see on the screen? You know, for instance, if you're looking at, let me enable it here. So again, I'm trying to figure out when you say how can we find the profit target, what do you mean by that exactly? If you're talking about if you get into a trade, where where would the profit target be? Well, that's a lot more, that's more involved. Okay, I mean, when you get into a trade, first of all, you have to have a reasonable, in my opinion anyway, a reasonable expectation of making at least a 1 for 2 in risk reward. Okay, so to make the math super simple, if I let's say I looked at a trade and it was at $5, and underneath that there was what I would consider maybe good support at 4.90. So that's 10 cents away. Okay. Now, if I'm looking to get into this trade and I look above $5, I don't want to see any resistance until at least, I mean, this would be the bare minimum, until at least 5.20. In other words, 20 cents away. Resistance meaning, something on the chart, a lot of action on the chart, I'd say that 5.20 level, where it could easily stop moving. So that would be the bare minimum. More than likely, though, I'd probably want to see anything for maybe 30 or 40 cents away. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is I will risk 10 cents maybe to make 30 or 40. I'm not going to risk 10 cents to make 5 cents. Okay. So when you say where's the profit target? Now, if you're talking about on our charts, there's nothing fancy. It's just double the difference between where you get in and where we have our smart stop. So did that answer your question? So every time, so again, maybe you can just clarify me. Were you talking about the profit target on our charts or just in general? So that last yes meant the profit targets on the charts? I shouldn't ask two questions at the same time, because when you say yes, I don't know what you're saying yes to. But this is a good overview for others anyway. When you click on an alert, I click on tell as an example, okay? And you'll notice, why isn't it here? It's interesting. Give me a moment here. Okay. All right, so I click on CISO, okay? What it's telling me is if I took this trade at 686, okay? Again, I'm not saying you do this, but 686, they're suggesting that the stop would be at 609. That's a pretty wide stop, okay? I'm on the daily chart, but it's the same. But let me just let me see. Let me try to find something that is more clear. There we go. So if I took CLVR right now at $2.18, the system is suggesting a stop at 210. Okay, it's a guide. You don't have to, of course, accept it, but that's a guide. And so the profit target is just double that difference. So let's just say pretend that that was at 220 and the stop was at 210. That's 10 cents away. The profit target would be 240. Okay, which is 20 would be 20 cents above the 220. In other words, a 1 for 2. Yeah, but that's a more difficult question, Theo. Okay, a lot goes into it. I mean, what I look at right here is, there's no resistance until a chart resistance until $8. Okay, so I mean, in theory, this could get all the way up there, right? I mean, in theory, It's the same on the weekly chart. Does that mean you wait until that happens? No. But what I was trying to say is if you got into this trade and you had a 20-cent risk and you're up 40 or 50 cents on it, then, the minute would drop down to say being up 40 cents, I would probably take some profit. In other words, the 1 for 2, if that makes sense. But where people take profit and all, I mean, others may look at the break of an 8-minute the AMA on the 5-minute chart. You would stay in the trade until if you have the 8 EMA on the 5-minute chart, and if it doesn't break that, you're still in the trade. As an example, there's no right or wrong way, is what I'm really trying to say. There's no foretell. This is exactly where you would take profit. Okay. You have to come up with I'll call it a trading plan that you're comfortable with, so that when you get into a trade, number one, you have to have enough reward versus the risk you're taking that it makes sense. Again, don't risk 10 cents to make a penny. Okay? And that's why practice in the simulator. Okay? Because if you decided, you know what, I don't mind that idea at all. If I put the 8 EMA on my chart, on a 5-minute chart, and I just stayed in that trade until it, and assuming I'm positive, and I stayed in the trade until it took that out, how would that work? And there's Chris talking about, the same sort of thing. The 8 EMA on the 5-minute or the 15. It'll be up to you. That's why you've got to practice. At some point, you'll get comfortable with doing something. It's not how I trade, but that doesn't mean that's wrong. I mean, it's just, I'm just not used to doing it that way. I'm more of a field trader. This is going to be fascinating when this one starts trading again, if ever, the Yandex. But again, just to put a stamp on this one, practice in the simulator. Okay, only you can determine where you're going to get comfortable placing your stops. And I'm not just addressing you, Theo. I mean, I'm more of a visual player. So if I took this para trade, for instance, I typically don't look at a 2-minute chart, but if I were, I'd look at this on the 2-minute. I'd say, wow, there's pretty decent or support there. So if it broke down through that area, I'd want to be out of the trade, as an example. Typically, the lowest time frame I would look at is 5 minutes. But would I take this trade now? Of course not, because it's gone parabolic, to a certain extent. So, I would be just chasing this right now. Well, pick was sweet for a while, but boy, it's a bit of a tough one. But it was sweet for a while if you got into that move over 5. But still, it has to be traded. 5.5 million in the float. It's you can't just assume. I mean, I was thinking it might try to get over 6. But look what it got to. It got to what, 580, 593. So it was pretty close to that 6, but not quite. All right, guys, getting close to the end here, guys. What's the news on it? It was an earnings play. HNST was an earnings play. HNST, when I shorted earlier today. So you can just see, I mean, it was earnings. So that's what caused the big drop. You see earnings, released earnings after hours yesterday. You can see the drop. We saw this in the pre-market. This was my number one focus to short. Why? Because it had earnings. Well, it had news, not just earnings, but it had news. News obviously was bad. And it came into my 10-day daily breakdown. I was almost sure it was going to, in the pre-market, I was pretty sure that was going to happen. So it came in my 10-day daily breakdown. And also to put like a little bow on it, it was an all-time low. So those three things all lined up for me. So that was my number one focus going when the market opened. All right, guys. Wow, but I got to admit, they really had a nice comeback. HNST. I mean, it's still down a lot for the day, but it did have a nice comeback all day once it got down to that 4 level. Well, for those of you who look at Indo, this is sort of an interesting little move here for Indo. I know Poe made a nice trade a long time ago on this one, and it may be starting to move again. Well, it is starting to move again, but taking out that 23.28 level could get it running again. Not for me, but for those of you with that risk in mind, with that low float for Indo. And the CLVR, just talking about that as a demonstration, CLVR, there's a little break here now, guys. My problem with it from day one, this morning, was looking at this area over here as potential resistance. Now, if it takes this out, I mean, what did it get up to? It got up to 233, and the high here was 222 and 223. So, at one point it did take that out, and that was the high of last month, my guess, 223. And then you see the next high is 337. That's on the monthly chart. But as always, you've got to look at the weekly chart too. So the weekly chart is 275. Is that right? You know what? This has got room. I mean, 275. I'm not saying it's getting there. Understand? I'm not saying it's getting there. It did have earnings also. Okay. So it not only is it a cannabis play, but it had earnings such as they were. So, hey, I mean, this has got the room to that 275 level on the weekly chart before it probably would hit some resistance. So again, if you believe, that something is going to happen next week with marijuana, then fine. But this is definitely, I mean, this whole thing, like all the marijuana stocks, rumor laden, right? You've got to understand your risk. I mean, if you got into CGC, if you thought, I'm going to swing this one, your stop has to be at least down here around 670. The low of these candles there, in my opinion, anyway. All right, guys, 2:33 now. So one last time to take a look at my homepage. I'll be wrapping up my spell on the mic at about 3 o'clock. The room will be open until 3:30. Did I say spell? Stretch is what I wanted to say. My stretch on the mic until at 3 o'clock. So I just want to put in my homepage again. All right, so when you click on the link, of course, here's how you can take out a subscription. I'm not going to go over it. Just click on the Get Trade Ideas. You'll see the 4 plans we have. Annual, monthly for premium and standard. Okay, you can click on that. You'll see the 4 plans. Please do this though. You starting out with Trade Ideas, please do this. Let's get started. That's what it says. You're the wonderful people who work at Trade Ideas. Okay, download an installation. So there are 10 episodes, obviously. Go through them. I think it'll take you about 30 minutes. I think it's well worth it. Okay. Can't wait to see what next week's Trade of the Week will be. Trade of the Week, free service. Sign up for it right here. It'll be sent to you before the market opens every Monday morning. Stock of the day that I do, free service. I do it at noon Eastern, and all the education free. We have our user guide. It has sections in it, alert windows, top list windows. Virtually, you're wondering about, oh, can it do this, or how would I do this? You definitely take a look at the user guide after you've done, the 30-minute introduction. Take a look at the user guide if you want to find out, how to do something. The stock racing is down here, and then we have the table of contents right here. It's all searchable, so don't drive yourself crazy trying to figure out how to do something. Some things are not intuitive, but more than likely you can find it in the user guide. I'm going to kind of bypass this introductory lessons. I think you really should be doing that 30-minute guide or 30-minute video. I think these are going to be revamped anyway. Daily support. So Chris will be in our YouTube room between 3:30 and 4:30 today, and Mondays to Fridays. Okay, so when I do wrap up at 3:30 in the main room, I'll put the YouTube link in, and you can head over there. The daily webinars. So next week it is Monday, Wednesday. Following week it is Tuesday, Thursday. But you can sign up for them all here. The last, Michael Noss put this great series together. If you're new to trading or you're looking for a bit of a refresher or maybe even a different take, Michael put this together. It starts off with what is a stock? All free. And of course, my scans. Obviously, you have to be a member of Trade Ideas to have my scans. I've added the cross the VWAP scan. Okay. It's 2 scans actually, mine and Shady's. Okay, but all the scans that I'm sharing are here. Wondering what I do in the pre-market? I use these 4 in the pre-market. Gap up, gap down, and mainly these. The pre-market actors up and down. I've been using this for years and years and years. Hardly have made any changes to it. That kind of sets me up for the day. So, ton of information in the Let's Get Started and my scans and education. If you save my link, then you can look at this anytime. I don't know if you're kidding, Lonnie, or not. So well, this you should have seen this. Cross the VWAP and Shady's VWAP cross. That's what you should have seen. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you were kidding. Okay, well, okay, first of all, no, I don't have a link to the whole setup. That's why you have the individual scans, okay? Not everybody wants everything, so that's why if you go to my homepage, you kind of can pick and choose. Okay? What is Trade Ideas? So I do have a question from our YouTube room. We're a scanner. We scan the U.S. stock market. Okay. Doesn't matter who your broker is. Doesn't matter where you live in the world. You can use Trade Ideas. Okay. So this is an example of a scan. I share a lot of scans. And so you don't have Trade Ideas, obviously, but what we can do with Trade Ideas is share scans. So I put together a lot of scans that I share. We have a lot of scans in our toolbar. For instance, if I click on the toolbar and then the dot channel, these are all channels. So we have like a momentum channel. All the channels are theme based. So these are scans that we've put together. So if you're a momentum trader, this is a scan that we have put together. If you, the weed watchers, you want to follow the marijuana stocks, we've got the weed watchers. We have an after hours scan. We've got pre-market, So there, I mean, there, we've got a lot of scans that we have created for you if you don't want to build your own. But if you do want to build your own, what we've done as a company, instead of forcing people to learn a programming language, we created a lot of different alerts, new high of the day, new low of the day, etc. I'm not going to go over them all, but these are all the types of alerts that we have. And then when we get to these icons, these are the filters. Don't get hung up on how many we have. You don't have to learn them all. It's just that, for instance, if I look at, this one, the basic new highs. So if I right click on it, it's going to show me exactly what it's looking for. You can see I don't have a lot. I'm just looking for, this is what you can do. You can set up your own scan. So in this particular one, I'm looking for stocks between $1 and $20. Current volume is 8. What that means, that's a very powerful filter that we have. That means it's trading at least 8 times normal up to this point of the day. Okay, 400,000 share minimum, and it's up at least 5% from the open. So if the stock meets these filter requirements and it makes a new high for the day, I get a real-time alert. Okay, so that's kind of the general, but we share a lot of scans, so you don't have to create your own from scratch if you don't want to. But if you do want to, I think it's pretty simple to do. All depends on your trading style, of course, what sort of scans you create. So the bull flag alert, I think it was, I don't know if it's an alert exactly, but if you check Market Explorer, bull flag, where's bull flag? Bull flag, okay. So if you click, okay, so if you go to the toolbar, and if you don't have this as an option, Easy Swan, if you don't have this as an option, that means that you don't have the latest version of Trade Ideas, okay? But if you click on New, and then click on Market Explorer, this window will pop up, the Market Explorer strategy, okay? If you right click, okay, so that means you don't have the latest version of Trade Ideas. If you can't find it, so again, if you click on New, and if you don't see Market Explorer, now I have a bigger list than you guys because I'm on a development version, but if you don't see Market Explorer in that list, that means you're not on the latest version of Trade Ideas, okay? You need the latest version. So if you go to my homepage, oh, you got it? Oh, you got it. Okay. Oh, no, you have it. Okay, now I understand. Okay, so if you click on it, now right click, and where it says server window, hover over that, and then it pops up, and there's the bull flag. Okay, that's the bull flag. Okay, so if you've got the market, I just explained it. If you have the Market Explorer window like this, then you right click, hover over that server window, and this box will pop up, and here are all of the new scans, and one of them is bull flag. Okay. Did you get that? If not, I'll do it again. And when you click on it, I don't know what you're going to see, but that's it. Okay, so I'm seeing some. Okay. So did that work? So if you give me a yes, then no, whatever is here, that's what it is. Okay, maybe down the road it'll be more customizable, but whatever it is here, that's what it is. Okay, so Easy Swan, what I would do is, if you're a new subscriber, because down like here, for instance, when I share my link, my homepage link, Oh, no. I thought you didn't have the latest version of Trade Ideas, okay? I thought you did. So I was going to get you to download the latest version, okay? But you, okay, because when I thought you said you didn't see the Market Explorer, okay, in this list. And that's why I was saying, well, you have to download the latest version of Trade Ideas, but you say you can see it. So listen, this is what I would do, seriously. Okay, go to my homepage. I just put the link in. You say you're brand new to Trade Ideas. Do yourself a favor. Okay, just give me a moment, blue collar. Do yourself a favor, okay? Click on my link. Click on my link. And you'll see there's a get started. Let's get started. Click on that, please. And it's 30 minutes long, but it'll give, I mean, obviously you know how you've downloaded and installed it, so you don't have to go through that, but you can kind of, tool and right click magic. I mean, spend the 30 minutes, okay, and get used to what some of the basic features of Trade Ideas is. Because one of the things you're asking me about is, sharing links and all that. It's all covered. So again, you see, so if you click on my homepage link, you'll see this, and then, but I'm also sharing, all my scans are here. These are all the scans that I'm sharing. And if you don't know how to, load this, then that's why I think you have to go to the guide first, or to the guide, go to that 30 minutes. Like all this stuff is explained. Okay. I mean, I'll do one, okay? Let's just say you wanted this cross the VWAP scan or Zach's bouncers and toppers. So you click on the link, okay? It's going to show up in a new tab, And then you just highlight it. See how I've highlighted and copied it? I've Control-C, I've copied it. I've copied the link. The next step is File, Load from Cloud, from our toolbar, File, Load from Cloud. And if you've done it correctly, you'll see it right here. You see how this box is filled in, and it looks exactly the same as this string here. Ends in CE9F3, CE9F3. So you know you've done that correctly, and then you just load it. Okay, and there it is. Presto, just like magic. So any scan you want from me, that's all you have to do. Now, the next step, though, is saving it to the cloud, because you've got it now on your screen. But if you just exit Trade Ideas without doing any saving, you'll have to go through this process every single time, which is crazy, right? So right click, save or share to cloud, and save it. Okay, and now it's in the cloud. Then, just like I did before, you can start load from cloud, file, load from cloud. If you just saved it, you'll see it right up here. You highlight it, load it. You want another one? Highlight, load it. Also, save your layout. Of course, save your layout. You'll be given an option at the end. Let's just say that you have created some scans of your own. You've downloaded some from me, some scans from me. Maybe you've gone into our channel bar, extracted some scans there. Now you've got a bunch of scans on your monitor. Maybe you want to add a single stock window, some charts, etc. The next step then is, and that could be the layout that you'd like to use most of the time. So the next step would be File, Save or Share to Cloud. Okay. I would click on Entire and give it another name. Give it a name. We'll use you as an example. Easy Swans Layout. Okay. You type that in there. Save it. Now your layout is saved. You have individual scans that have been saved. You've also saved your layout. The other thing that will happen is when you exit Trade Ideas, File. I'm not going to click that because sometimes it destroys my link to my broker. But if you click on Exit, it's going to ask you, save layout, yes or no. More than likely, it's the same layout you want. So say yes. The other reason to save everything to the cloud is that you can have trade ideas on as many devices as you want. Okay, so obviously I'm working off a desktop. I do have a laptop. I do have several tablets. Okay, so I can have trade ideas on all those different devices. I can only load trade idea. I can only have the program loaded one device at a time. But let's just say I buy a new laptop. Okay, well, instead of my having to recreate every single scan and every single layout that I've done since I've had trade ideas in 2010, okay, if I've saved everything to the cloud, all I have to do on, say, my new laptop is download the program and then file, load from cloud. I mean, everybody probably knows how, cloud servers work now. So everything is saved in the cloud. You just, that's all you have to do. Just load your layout from the cloud or load a scans or whatever. So you don't have to recreate everything from scratch. And then, of course, the other huge reason is that, let's just say you do only have one device and you're using a laptop or you're using a desktop computer and something happens to it, whatever happens to it, it just stops working. Well, pain, yes, but maybe you have to do a format or get a new computer. Well, that's again a pain. But if you've saved everything to the cloud, again, all you have to do is download our program and then load from the cloud. Okay, so really get into the idea of saving everything to the cloud. I have got a lot of different scans that I've created over many, many years, and I don't use them all. But every now and then, what I do is I bring. Maybe I think a scan that I've got is getting a little stale. And so I bring one that maybe I created 5 years ago and just, see how it's working. And I look at it and go, hey, it's not working too badly. So maybe I replace it, with the one that I created 5 years ago. Meanwhile, guys, and all my talking, the ALLG ramped up here, really ramped up here. So blue collar, I think you asked a question before. Yes. Are you talking about the market? And so also, guys, if you click on, the guide, the question was, well, let me just show you. Easier to show you than. So if you click on my homepage link, a moment. Okay, blue collar. So this is, and for others, because I didn't even know this existed. Okay, so if I click on my link, then I go to the education section right here. So I click here. Okay. Now I click on the big user guide. I click on the user guide. Now I'm in the user guide. Guess what? We do have a section. You scroll down on the Market Explorer, as it's called. Here's the Market Explorer. Click on it. And now this will tell you all of these ones that are in the Market Explorer. It's going to give you what it's looking for. So the 8x820 cross on gappers, a little explanation, okay? RSI divergent, long, short, etc. Okay? Give you a little explanation about what they're looking for. These are not adjustable, okay? They're not customizable is what I'm saying. It's not like our normal alerts where you can, of course, put in whatever price range you want, volume, time frame, etc. These are not customizable. Down the road, probably, but certainly not now. Okay, so but this gives you a brief explanation about what they're all looking for. Here's your ABC up and down. So yeah, Easy Swan, it's a little confusing. We have two rooms going. You're in our YouTube room, but we do have what I call the main room. Okay, the main trading room. A lot more people are there. It's a lot more active in terms of the traders. Okay, so you can head over there. You have to do it you can't just say, well, you can save the link, but you have to, just like I have to do, I have to go to my homepage or to the Trade Ideas homepage, click on the trading room and enter. So getting into YouTube is a little easier. But if you want more action, this is what it looks like. This is the trading room. It's just a lot more action. I don't know if there's, well, in that particular Market Explorer, I don't know if there is a triangle. If you don't see it there, then there isn't. But as always, if you're ever, let me get rid of this. Sorry. If you're ever wondering if we have something, just give me a moment as I size the window again. All right. So if you go to File in our tool, in the toolbar, click on File. Wrong. If you click on an alert window, okay, right click on it, configure, search. This is going to tell you everything that we have. So you asked about triangle. Well, let's just type in triangle and see what we have. Oops. So we do have something called triangle bottom, triangle top. Never used it. Okay, never used it. But it's there, so you can take a look at it. Okay. So people ask all the time, what do you have for RSI? Well, let's type in RSI. This is what we have. If you want the 10-minute RSI, you're out of luck. Okay. But this is what we have. This is why we said, we tried to create enough different alerts and filters that people didn't have to program anything. But, so unfortunately, if you see something that you want and it's not there, well, I'm sorry, we just don't have it. Looking for MACD, MACD. Oops. This is what we have for MACD. If you don't see it here, if it's something you want, we don't have it. Sorry, we don't have it. You want the Ichimoku cloud. Guess what? We don't have it. Type it in, nothing's coming up. I'm just showing you because we do get the question a few times. Okay, so save yourself a lot of trouble wondering if we have anything. And this is also segmented alerts and filters. Okay, but this is a drop down. So if you want to see what we have, say for fundamentals. I'm not big into the fundamentals, but a lot of people are. So you want the market cap, you want the shares outstanding, held by insiders, institutions, etc. These are all the filters that we have. Okay, so you don't have to learn everything. I don't know any of this stuff. I don't use it. Okay, I know what held by insiders means, but I don't use it. Well, Shady's scan should be here. It should be here. It's different from mine. This is what he gave us earlier this week. You can make changes, of course, but this is what he gave us. So, it's in my section. It's in my homepage, but this is what you'll see: the VWAP crossing and Shady's VWAP cross. Okay. And you can see every alert here is literally right at the VWAP. I'm not as upset. Too strong a word. I don't mind the fact that actually, the way we have our VWAP crossing, it needs some confirmation on volume. Okay, so yeah, sometimes it may look like the alert is too late. I don't know. This one 3381, obviously in this particular case was right on. Sometimes it might be a little bit later, but at least you'll have a confirmation that there was some volume associated with that cross, which is not necessarily the worst thing. And my goodness, look at ALLG. Too much yakking on my part. This was one that I would have, probably dabbled in around that 1630 mark. But that's okay. Wow, it's 2:59 already. Whew. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put the announcement in. I'm just going to say I'm on mute, but I'm not leaving. I just put myself on mute. If I have to, I'll hop on the mic if it requires a vocal explanation as opposed to text. The room will be open until 3:30, the main room, and then Chris will take over in our YouTube room, and he'll be there between 3:30 and 4:30. Okay, so I'm putting myself on mute now.
All right, Barry, are you there? Can you hear me? Just testing my mic here. Can you all hear me?
Chris, I can hear you. Sorry, I just had to get my
Okay,
headset on.
yeah.
I can hear
I
you.
was going to test it on the other end too. All right, perfect. So there's nothing for you to do here. I'm going to just go ahead and take the stream.
Okay.
I'm going to remove you from it, and that's it. You should be you're gone. And now I'm going to put me, and there we are. We're switched. And it'll be that easy. You'll do this on your end moving forward, Barry. Let me here. Your mic's still on now if you want, but I just switched it
Okay.
to my screen, so I can show you this really fast after I wrap up at 4:30. And essentially, all you're going to do is send us a link. You'll add us to the stream when we click into it, and that's it. And then when we're done, you come in, you just remove us from the stream and put your screen back on. All right, so smooth transition, I do believe. Double check. All right, yeah, so looks good on both ends here. Perfect. So happy Friday, everybody. 3:30 session here. 3:30 Eastern. It's something 30 wherever you are in the world. Looks like a light crowd after all that hiccup that we had this afternoon, but I think moving forward, that's going to not happen anymore. We're going to switch. We're switching some streaming services here, and it's going to make for a much nicer session here for our live streams. So open forum that way I go with today. Anybody with questions, fire those away for me. Don't have anything pre-done for you all. Of course, talk whatever kind of charts you want or scans and so on and so forth. You can all hear my daughter practicing viola in the background. Hi, I'm brand new to TI. How do you save an entire docked layout to your cloud? Awesome question. So you got any docked window, all right? Everything's docked into it, whatever window you want. You're going to click on the top of the dock and go save or share to cloud. You'll give that a name, whatever you want it, and then save it, and boom, it'll be in your cloud, and that's it. And then you can load that doc anytime that you want into any layout, and it won't actually close that layout that you were on. Let me know if that got you answered, or if there's other questions that you have, of course. I had a chart of P10 up here. I've traded this a ton over the last few months, and Andy pointed it out to me again the other day. It had this beautiful wedge that was going on here, or whatever you want to call it, a symmetrical triangle. We call it a pennant. A few different pattern names that we can call that. And just had that look, but I couldn't really trade this week. So crying in my soup, but that looks good to go. And that's pretty pegged tightly with the XOP here. And the XOP is just absolutely on fire. I mean, look at that thing. Once we broke that 114 level back here, once we broke that 114 level, that was it. It's been game on. We ran up, we had that pullback, and we really bounced hard off that pullback. Okay, but every time I do that, it saves a separate version of the doc. So now I have two of them. Okay, so but is everything in one doc that you want into that layout, or is the layout consisting of multiple docs? Meaning, like, my layout right now has one, two, three docs that are just on the screen alone. So if you want to save the entire layout in these individual docs, you can go File, Save or Share to Cloud, and click Entire Layout, and it'll save it as a layout like that. The other option that you could do is this. You could right click, Save or Share Cloud on one of the docs, and then if you notice in this box that comes up, only the items in that doc are checked. You could start checking other boxes, and if it's in a doc, like, see how there's a D right here, a D right here, a D right here. When I click those, it checks everything, all the boxes that are there. You could select, the individual items that you want saved as well. So technically, you could save the whole layout like that, as multiple docs docs as it's docked together in a sense, and then load that and give it a name, obviously. So those are two different ways to save those layouts, and be able to load them from the cloud directly like that, as essentially it's a doc, even though it's all separated docs. Let me know if that is a little better of a workaround for you. Let's see, Tel is still running on some races. I've seen it's running on my races all day long. So, made this big initial move up, pull back, and been grinding up the rest of the day. And did that transcendent trader, did that help, that second, those two other workarounds that I just showed you, or two other options for saving? It's all one doc. When I save it, it doesn't show me the name of the current doc in the window, so I name it my doc. When I save it and look in my cloud again, I see two of them. No, every time you no, you're all good. Every time you save something into your cloud, it doesn't overwrite ever. It just adds it to your cloud. So whatever you saved previously will be there always to reload. So for example, all right, you can rename the docs. Right click, right click and go to change title. And that's how you can change the name of the doc. See, it's called charts up here. And so, it's called charts here, all right? Then if I right click, the doc, and I go save or share to cloud, all right? And I save it as charts, all right? If I go to now file, where are you? If I go to file, load from cloud, there it is as charts, all right? And if I save it again, I'll have it again. Save charts, all right? And again, it'll be here in my cloud, load from cloud, file, load from cloud. And you see both of them are right here, same things. And I think even if I go save or share to cloud, charts, TST, let me see what happens here. Yeah, called a charts test. All right. So yeah, as far as saving goes, though, there's no overriding what was in the cloud previously. If you want to remove something from the cloud that you had previously, you just got to delete it. And anything that you ever save is just adding to the cloud separately as a completely separate file. Hi, can you please demo the unusual volume relative volume scanner on different time frames? Sure. So there's not any one scanner like this necessarily, Khalid, but what we can do is we can build anything we want with um, the filters that we have available. So for an alert window, alert windows are a two function system. So you need an alert or event, and then you have the filters. An alert or event, to give you an idea, is going to be something like new high or new low, or if we're working in the pre-market, new pre-market high, new pre-market low, and all these different things in here. When you see these single icons like this, these are events. All right. And then we have our filters. All right. So for volume, you'll see filters have these dual icons, like a teal and purple one together, versus these alerts here, they're that single icon. So we have these different options here as far as volume goes. 1 minute, 5 minute, 10, 15, and 30 minutes for intraday volume. Okay, so I thought that was you, but I wasn't positive. So we talked about maybe doing this in a top list instead. So what we could do here is a few different things that we can do that I want to show you. So we can start and we can make what's called a top list. And this is going to be that grid that I said, this is going to update every 30 seconds, essentially, with all the stocks that meet. So, we got to program it, we can give it a price range just for this exercise. I'm going to give it, a price range of $4 to $100. All right. And then we can, let me hide these unused here. And we can look at, for example, we discussed 1 minute volume. All right. And 5 minute volumes. I know that we discussed both of those. Actually, let me type volume instead. Give me all the options here. So I know 5 minute volume was something that you're really interested in. So again, I can take this 5 minute volume and add this filter, and I can say I want to see volume of over the last 5 minutes doing X amount more than it normally does. So 100 is our baseline. All right, meaning that's normal volume. If I put a 1,000, that means it's doing 10 times what it's normally doing. Now, this specific filter isn't going to be comparing it to any previous candles. What I can do, and what I discussed with you, is we can make a custom based on this filter and another filter that exist within the system already. So what I can do is this. I'm going to build out that filter really fast and put it in and show how what it would be showing right now for stocks. So bear with me while I put this custom into my account real quick, because it's not something I keep in my account already. All right, so this is going to work as a ratio. And so I'm going to add that filter. I just created it, and now it'll be in my account somewhere in here. Here we go. So I add that filter, and now we can put a ratio in, and I can put, let's say, for example, a 3. So it's the current volume is now 3 times what it was the previous 5 minutes. But remember, we're not doing by candles; it's time frame. So it's not going to go by closed or open or closed candles. All right. And so just by doing that, now we can see all these stocks that have met this here. They're all doing that volume like that. All right. We can even see 5-minute volume here as a percent, what we're at for 5-minute volume. We see the 1 minute here so much above that 5-minute volume. As we click through these, we're probably going to see the same thing on all these, that the 1 minute volume is quite a bit above that 5-minute volume. All right. And so that's what's currently happening now. And if you had that filter, you could be seeing that for the first 5 minutes of the market, like it was, like you were asking for or looking for before. So as I mentioned, that's not that's not like the candles, like you said, but that's what we're looking at for this here. So we can see there isn't a whole lot going on in that regard coming into the close of the market right now. But we could go back in history on this just to get an idea of what this looked like this morning. All right, and there's really no metrics in the scan whatsoever at this point. 9:30 a.m. So we've told this scan, there's a couple things going on here just so we can understand fully what's happening here. This scan is first going to look for every stock that meets the criteria of this right here, just that filter comparing the volume right now to the previous 5 minutes, essentially. All right. Then it can only hold X amount of stocks at once. So the stocks at the top are going to be the ones that have the largest change from close that meet this criteria here. So let's say 1,000 stocks meet our criteria, but we can only show 100 right now. The top 100 in descending order, the biggest change from close is what's going to be there. And so this is what would have been going on in the first 5 minutes of the market opening. So we've seen these tickers that are all in here in that first 5 minutes. And I can throw in some other metrics too. So for example, we want to clean up some junk and we say, well, that's fine, but I don't want to see anything that's traded less than 150,000 shares already today, for example. So we can throw that in here and start to tighten things up. And, I don't want to see anything under, for example, $8. So we can start to add these things to really define what the scan's bringing us. And now we can see that list gets tightened up just like that. So here's the stocks that are really, meeting what we're looking at. When we want to go to the next 5 minutes here. So the way top lists work, they're going to give a historical reference of 5 minutes. Now we can build this into an alert window, but we just need it to show, we need it to have an alert or an event. And so some different ideas that I could have for you are, for example, we can use a 5-minute high, if you don't want just a new high on the day. Oops, 35. So now, we've got a few more minutes of market data going here. Why are you not giving me any stocks? So that filter's probably blocking us at this point. Yeah. So there wasn't anything doing more volume at that point than it had been previously based on those metrics that we were just showing now. Let's see. I just want to throw a different ratio in here just to see what happens. So, these would have been the only stocks at that point that were doing more volume then than they were doing previously. And, one of the things we can see here is that declining volume. If we looked at other stocks, we'd probably find a lot of declining volume across the rest of the day here. Friday can be a tough day to show examples because people are trading, a lot of pre-market trading goes on, and then people are done for the day, within the first, half an hour of the market. So you see all this declining volume here. But so essentially, just so I can be very extra clear on what I've done with this formula is we're saying, let me go back here. What I've done is, so what I did is I created this filter right here. It says this will compare the stock's volume in the last minute to the same stock's volume in the previous 4 minutes. That's essentially what I'm doing. And so this was the formula that I used, and it's using shares to do that, not percents. And this done in a ratio. I can do it as a percent too. We could also do it in different time frames where this is going to compare the volume of the last 5 minutes over the previous 10. All right. So same idea here. We have to work with the code that exists within the systems. And we could also do the last minute compared to the previous 5 as well here. So, some different things that are in this formula editor. Anybody that's Trade Ideas subscriber can get into these things. Nothing's overly complicated because the formula is already there. The code's already there. It's just, some simple math and bracketing from there, order of operations kind of stuff. For me, I'm not great at it. Other people are whizzes with this stuff. We have people behind the scenes here that work in different capacities that can also assist with things. But like I said, we're just limited to the code that exists within the system to do these things. So the volumes that we can work with for that are going to be these here: 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, and 30 minutes. Those are the only data points that we have within the system for that. So those are the ones that we have to work with and that we could use to compare each other to. No, my pleasure to explain, and that's why I mentioned to you when I talked to you earlier. There's things that just can't be explained. Um, they have to be shown/explained. So I just figured if you had a free moment, you could pop in here. Um, I know you mentioned that you're looking to do things fairly simple, and like anybody else, I think a lot of people once they get into once they get into the software, they start to fancy things up a little bit, and I can't blame anybody. It's a nice adult toy, this software. I spent a many night at this desk all night long playing around with scans. And just for reference, also, the historical feature goes back approximately 64 days. Sometimes it can be up to 66, sometimes it can be down to 62, depending on when weekday market holidays fall. But essentially, it's around that 63, 64 range for going back on historical data. And of course, anybody else with questions, fire those away for me. Or if you have more questions, by all means, jump those in here too. And, I know for some people, 60 plus days of data is not enough. For other people, they don't really care. It doesn't matter. I mean, personally, I wish we had, a few years of data, but I'll just keep wishing and poking the bear on my end here for that. Does TI have market internals tools? If so, could you demo some of them? Um, Market internal tools. I would point you towards what I call. Sorry, I was. Whoops. Close the window here. Um, so we have these compare count windows. Like right now, I can tell you that there's the market probably is moving up right now. And I don't even have a SPY chart, but I'd say overall the market's moving up. At least the SPY is, and I'll bet the IWM is flat-ish maybe without even looking. Let's pull it up. So SPY moving up, just as I said, IWM. And I'll explain how I knew that in a second. I said that IWM is kind of flattish at the moment. All right, how did I know that? These windows. So what I'm doing with these windows, they're called compare count windows. The green data is new highs, the red data is new lows, and their market is set off by market caps. All right. So, this is under 2 billion. This is 2 to 4 billion. This is greater than 4 billion. This is greater than 5.4 billion. All right. Um, and what these have done here is there's red data and green data. So if I can come into the configure of any one of these, all right, they're set up essentially like alert windows, but green data configure, red data configure. And so this is from Jamie Hodge, and I just think these are such wonderful but simple windows. What he did was he created here and said, I want to see stocks making new highs on the day, and then some filters to define with those new highs. So he put a distance from market filter in here to keep out bad prints. All right. And then he put an EPS filter in here to keep out ETFs. And then he sectioned them off by market cap. So each one of these windows, like I explained, is going to have, I can't move it but if you get the idea behind here, 1, 2, 3, 4 windows, each one's cordoned off by market cap. So this one has a max of, 1.999 for billions. All right. And then he added an extra volume metric just to make sure we've got stocks that have got some movement in them. So the 1 minute volume here is just saying that the stock is doing 3 times its normal 1 minute volume over a 10-day average. And so I think it's a great way to look at market internals. There's different things that you can do with it between the alerts and filters that exist. There's a lot of different angles someone could take and experiment with it. But this one, just very simply, I told you exactly what the SPY was going to look like coming into the close and also what the IWM. And I said the IWM was going to be kind of flattish and the SPY was going to be moving up. And we had just that. So if you want these, I can share those with you right away. And we could, the market's closing, so it's going to be hard to demonstrate necessarily live, but we can mess around and build something anyways. So load from cloud, CC, Windows, share. So there you go, like that. All right. Let me know if we could dig around more if if you want. these are constantly moving in real time. They don't update. They work like alert windows. So you can see these are all tickers. The green tickers coming across the bottom are making new highs on the day. The red tickers on the bottom are making new lows on the day. So, NTB, I click on that real quick. There's NTBs making a new high on the day. HPI is making a new low on the day. So this is happening right now. And all these tickers are cordoned off in each one of these by market cap. So look, all green across the bottom, all green across the bottom. This is a mix of green and red across the bottom. All right. So if you want to play around with this, we could do something. We can experiment right here on screen. We can go new, compare count window. All right. And we're going to configure green data and red data. So for example, we could go with, let's see, widen this out. Let's think of some stuff here. If you want to see stuff breaking standard deviations, for example, in an alert, and then give it some filter parameters. All right. And balances, I don't think matter. We could do different stuff with, sector breakouts or sector breakdowns. All right. Any of these here, positive and negative divergences, we could kind of do. All right. And then it doesn't just work like this because we're going to get coupled with filters. We don't have to, but we can be coupled with filters as well. So, we could do any of these items here. And then if you really want it pointed, we could be looking at the S&P and we could throw an S&P change in here. All right. Or we could look at the NASDAQ. All right. And we could do it like that. All right. Or even the Dow. We don't have an IWM one, unfortunately. Where's Dow? Change in Dow over the 15 minutes. All right. Over a percent day, whatever we want, 5, 10, those are the datas that we have to work with. All right. We could do something with gaps, gap reversals. So we could have false gap retracements or, things like this. We could add all these different items in here. And, you could run some different compare count windows and see what the kind of results that you are for the market internals that you are looking to see, essentially. So like I said, we've gone into obviously the post-market now, but I mean, we might be able to do something post-market here. I don't know how much post-market action there's going to be. First off, the market's been asleep the entire week as it is anyways. But we could do, let's say, post-market highs. So we can add this alert. Oops, post-market. Let's get rid of that. All right. And some volume metrics in here. Remember, there's probably going to be some, there might be some pre-configured stuff in here based on whatever the defaults are. All right. So you have to go through that. So we've got a post-market highs. And we're not even going to do anything else. We're going to leave this just blank like that. So there's our green data is going to be post-market highs. All right. So there's that. And let's configure the red data. And we're just going to go with post-market lows. All right. We're just going to see what post-market highs versus post-market lows are. We'll call post-market test. And press OK. And here we go. All right. And so now we can see we've got more post-market lows than more post-market highs right now coming across this. I don't know how we change the, there we go, dark background. Looks nicer with the dark background. All right. And we can see this happening live right now. And you're going to see this update. We went all the way down. It was 60-40. We've come back a little bit. We're back to 60-40 here. And you can see it tracing as a graph. You can see the symbols coming across here. We've got our time across the bottom. Whoops. All right. So we can see that it's really more about the post-market lows right now. More things are moving lower in the post-market overall than moving up. That gives us an overall internal snapshot of the entire stock market in the post-market right now. Not cordoned off by anything. We don't care if it's a 1-cent stock or if it's a $5,000 stock. All right. But we're only looking at the major exchanges also right now. So the Amlx, the ARCA, and the NYSE. No, there's no penny stock, well, technically there could be penny stocks if they're listed on any of those exchanges, but no OTCs, no pinks are involved in this. So we're just looking at the major exchanges. And this is live, tick by tick moving of the entire post market right now. And like I said, you can dial this in as much or as little as you want. I just wanted to show this as an example because I didn't know if we would have any real movement in the post market. So let me know if that made sense or if you have questions on it or, all the above. Glad you liked it. I think it's probably our most underutilized tool, period. So what I use it for is for any day trading that I'm doing, that first 15 minutes, where are the institutions going to? Do we have heavy institutional buying? What's combining, like I always say, it's combining a puzzle and picking the pieces that you want to the puzzle. You're not handed the pieces, you create the pieces to your puzzle. So, in the morning, which way are the institutions leaning? Is there a lot of small cap buying, or are we more into focus on the large caps? We can see here for the day, you know, there's a lot of it looks like a lot of institutional buying, I would say, was more in the large caps here. All right. And they was really, really moved up. Even in the mid caps here, we look good. And the small caps were losers today overall. All right. And again, we can IWM it. So the IWM. All right. And the IWM basically flat on the day here. All right. Up, down, up, down. Let's look at the SPY. All right. SPY's up on the day. All right. Up 2 points, as a matter of fact. All right. And it was also an up down, but it ended up much more up than it did down, actually. All right. So, and keep in mind, these aren't weighted by tech or anything like that. We're just looking at market cap of stocks and how they're moving in this. So, yeah, possibilities are endless with it, really. It's why when anytime someone says, do you have a scan for, you could list any one item. There's an infinite amount of scans that could be created technically. So let's see, we're at 4:07 p.m. on the East Coast here. Look, we've seen the post-market action coming back up again. And that's this is no comment on if something is rocketing or not. But if you've only got 2 or 3 stocks making new post-market highs and you've got 30 stocks making post-market lows, that's where you'll see this, like that. So fire any questions. I'm going to get rid of this here. I'm going to move that back out of the way. What happened in sectors today? Is this going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event, or are we going to get some? Is this finally going to get some relief? I mean, look at that downtrend. I mean, that's just, you don't see that in a lot of charts and a lot of ETFs, a lot of sectors. But we'll see what happens if and when this thing gets passed next week. Yeah, I could do that easily. So let's take a look here. Find my menu bar. There we go. All right. So essentially, to do a channel, all right, you're going to save something to the cloud as a layout, or you can really save any. It doesn't have to be a layout necessarily. But for this exercise, I'll do this here. I'll go save. All right. So when you've got what you want to be your channel, you go save and share to cloud. All right. And I'm going to click entire layout, and I'm going to call it testing new channel. All right. I'm going to save it. There we go. And I don't have a channel bar open, but I'm going to open a channel bar here. We're going to go with the free floating one. All right. And you can see this little gear that's up here. I'm going to click that gear. I'm going to go to edit custom channels. And it's going to give me this screen right here. And I'm going to click add channel. All right. And we can give it an image. We'll go with this nice looking retriever there. All right. And then we need to select from the cloud here. Oh, we got to give it a name too. So testing new channel. All right. We're going to select from the cloud. There's testing new channel. All right. I've selected it. Select. All right. We can see it's loaded there. I'm going to press OK. And that's it. Apply. And now, see, testing new channels right here. So I've got a test there and I got a test there. And if I click it, I'm going to have a new layout. Now, if you want this to be your default layout when you start trade ideas every time, that's different. Those are two different items. All right. Default layout that starts up is the local save. All right. So if we go file and we go save layout, all right, this default right there, if we save anything as this will be the layout that starts every time we start up trade ideas. This default underscore layout, and it's an LTI file, an LTI extension. All right. And you'd save that, which I'm not going to do because I don't want my layout to look like this when I start trade ideas. But that's how you'd save it as your default layout. What you save in the cloud won't be your default. What you save in the cloud is what you can load at any time. So just there's a distinction between the two. Let me know if that got you squared away and answered, or if I missed something, or I misinterpreted something, or I didn't go into enough detail of something you need to see the second time, anything like that. I'll take that. Thanks, as that was suffice. Excellent. Let me get rid of that. Let's put this back over. All right. Perfect. 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 Excellent day. So, a lot of things in trade ideas. I mean, again, I think this becomes, or I found for myself, as complicated or as simple as I want for some things. When you don't have the context, that's when it makes it a little tougher. So let's see. I'm going to dive around a few ETFs here, but if anybody has questions or they want to look at anything or discuss anything, by all means, let me know. So, I had a thought here on the MJ, the pot stocks. I'm trying to make a top list filtered by sector. When I search sector, nothing comes up. No, you can't filter by sector. Sorry. No way to filter by sector or sort by sector. You have to sort by a filter that we have. So, this essentially the races are top list. So all you can sort by is any of these items that are in here. And you could select any of those and sort by. Well, the MJ, so anybody that has been in enough of these with me, I've said for a long time, I don't get how you make money on these stocks because, there's so many rules and regulations and then other stuff too. First off, barring the news that just came out yesterday, the day before, whatever it was, in the United States, anyways, most of the states at this point want you to grow and sell as much as you can for tax revenues. But then now you have states that aren't even are giving you even tax breaks on growing, and they're not even taking some of the tax revenues on it. And at the same time, the federal government will come and arrest you. But the state government also puts a limit on how much you can grow of it and how much you can distribute and everything like that. So it's like so many arbitrary things. How do you make money there? Number one. Number two, all right. In general, banks don't take the money. Now, I understand someone was explaining to me actually that really knows all of this and the legalities of it a couple of weeks ago in one of our Twitter spaces that banks can take money, but there's all these stipulations and things that are involved in it. So my point being, it's a tough business to run as a legit business and make money. On top of that, are you going to get in trouble? Are you not going to get in trouble? What exactly are my rules? You can't cross state lines with it. You know what I mean? You can only grow so much of it. You're only allowed to sell X amount of it each month and all that. So for that reason, I think all this happened like this because there's just no clear rules. There's no clear anything on what you can do with this. And so that's the result. Now that headline came out yesterday that I guess there's a bill that's going to get voted on next week and legalize it federally. To what extent, what's in the bill, I have no idea. I don't personally care one way or the other what's in the bill. It's just irrelevant to me. The other thing that I'd say too is that, all right, great. They make it legal and everything like that. And, you can distribute it and you can go across state lines and now banks will take your money and all that. But, people could also just throw a couple seeds in the ground in a pot or whatever. And half the country could probably grow it year round and whatever else they want. Now, I know. Do people want it in their garden? And all this stuff. My point being, though, is there's a lot of ways around all this. And so, how does a business model work as far as these stocks go? Essentially, so they came out with this. We've been in this massive downtrend, and if it passes next week, let's just say the lead up to it, we move up this whole way leading up to it, and then it passes. It a sell the news? Because right now it's a rumor. It until it passes, it's a rumor. And then, the old saying goes, buy the rumor, sell the news. So anyways, whatever, I'll trade the stocks, day trade them for now, but I'm not investing. That's for sure. So I'm sorry, we got, how do we import and export a watch list? So what you could do is if you have a watch list somewhere and you can copy and paste that to a symbols list. All right. So I'll give you an example. I manage the Wall Street Bets list here. So I'll show you a roundabout way of what I do with it. Let me bring this over. So this is where I get the Wall Street Bets data from. All right. And there might be a more streamlined way to do this. I don't know, but I take these names here. I highlight these names. I do it till I get to 10. There has to be at least 10 mentions of the stock. Click, copy. All right. And then I come to, this is not how I do it for the global list that goes out to you folks. But if I was managing a Wall Street Bets list for myself, I'd go here, tools, symbols list, create new list. All right. We'll call it Wall Street Bets. All right. And I come into this list and I paste that data that's right in here. And I think you could probably leave those numbers. They won't affect anything. But I go through and I delete these numbers like this. Pain in the neck to delete all those rows. Yes. but that's how I do it. Now, if you didn't have all those there and it was just a clean list like that, you wouldn't have to do all this. And press OK, you'll have the list that's there. All right. Refresh from server to make sure the list updates into my system. All right. And now I could take a new top list. All right. I come to symbols lists and I can add existing list. There's my Wall Street Bets personal. All right. I've added it here. I put a check mark in it and you can see this drop down menu says only the following lists now. We can see that in the drop list. All right. And if I press OK, let's take a look at what we got going on here. So these are the stocks that would meet it with whatever filters that are in there. I can get rid of all the filters in this too. Configure. So it is getting messed up by the numbers that are in there. But all right, so I think I'd have to go through and delete the rest of those values. Symbols list. But that's essentially how you can create that. All right, and that's how I've created a watch list of ETFs. So not terribly exhausting, not great either. But that's how you can create a watch list. It should populate some more in a few seconds here. And then if you want to export, you can do this. You can highlight anything on here, right click, save as, and that'll create a CSV file for you to open up. Or sorry, no, save contents. Sorry, save contents, and that'll create a CSV file that you can open up in an Excel spreadsheet. Let me know if that works. And how do I take my criteria from an alert window and paste into a top list without having to re-enter everything? Yeah, that's easy. So right click. Let me find a. All right, let's go. I'm going to load a top list. You just need to find a random top list. I will do it like this. My evening scan. My evening scan, number one, updated. All right, so I have this here. All right, right click and configure. And oh, you know what? Let me give you a video real fast too on that watch list, and then I'll go into doing the collaboration feature here. Give me 1 second. Switch counts. Chris Varley. TI list. And voila. That video goes over more or less what I just did there for you. But so you can have it to reference it. And I think it's a pretty good video. It's about 5 minutes long. All right, now collaborate. So you've got your top list here. You're going to right click the top list and you're going to go to collaborate. All right. And that'll give us this link here. I always say this, please, if you're ever sharing a scan with us because you want us to look at it for some reason, give us a cloud link, not a collab link. All right. Because sometimes things don't transfer to us the way they should, as they will in a cloud link. Also, cloud links are easy for us to direct load instead of having to copy your collab link and then paste it into a window ourselves. With a cloud link, we can open it directly. All right. Anyways, so we copy this collab link here. All right. Press OK. And now, take an alert window. All right. And it doesn't matter. Alert window can look like anything because we're going to collab into it. So right click, collaborate into this alert window. You'll have to re-highlight everything that's in there for that. And you're going to paste the link from the top list into here. Press OK. And if we come to configure, we're going to see all my filters are in here. All right, that were in there. It's going to start with a heartbeat because we need to find a selected alert. So here in selected alerts, that's what it's going to have, the heartbeat. And you'll just have to go through and figure out what alert you want to add to that top list. And if we come to summary, we can see my evening scan number 1, updated 2. All right, just as it was called in that top list here. All right. And there it is, so I didn't add an alert, but it's in here. It would be a heartbeat. And then I tried to link my Interactive Brokers account with my trade ideas, but it will not connect. Follow the instructions of changing the API. Any suggestions? Yes. Email me here. Um, Email me there. All right. And when you email me, say, "Hey, I sent you my support files. I couldn't link to Interactive Brokers." And to email me your support files, you're going to do this. You're going to go to Help, and you're going to go to Send Files to Support, and that's going to send me what's going on in the back end, and it'll tell me why. It should tell me why you could not connect, but I won't be able to see that through here. And then in B plus is possible to go way back in history of executions, like a month or a year. No, you have to go. There's no way to go back in live executions in Brokerage Plus at all. You'll have to pull your tape from the broker. Yeah, from the simulator only. The calendar in the simulator will let you do that. Find where's my Brokerage Plus? Here we go. Brokerage Plus, connect to sim, and that's in here for whatever simulated positions that I'm holding. And so that's what that looks like here. And then if you click on the dates, it'll give you whatever the activity was for that day if you did anything. Why is that not giving me data? What am I doing wrong? Oh, I know what it is. I hadn't made any trades in it. That's why. But that's, yeah, right now that's all it can do because there's not a way for us to pull your API logs from Interactive Brokers in that sense. All right, so if I am taking alert criteria and putting into a top list, should I go configure collab copy, then open the top list, configure collab highlight paste? Is that okay? Yes, that'll work. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's some features, David, that I wish were a little different in the calendar. I'm no data expert, so I don't know how all that shakes out or goes. But overall, yeah, it's a nice function to have for the simulator. Anyways, I do very much wish that we could get it for live data. I don't know that if or when that can happen. There's some hangups between communications on that. And so glad you found that easy. How long links stay in the cloud? Until nuclear war destroys the Earth or an asteroid, whatever comes first. Um, that's how long they stay in the cloud. Or if Trade Ideas ever becomes a liquid and disappears as a company, or if somehow we're attacked cyberly or something like that. But we don't delete anything from anybody's cloud. It'll only get deleted if you delete it. More or less, I was kind of playing around with that, but that's it. They stay there forever and ever and ever. We never delete anything from anybody's clouds, nor do we go into users' accounts and take things from people's clouds. Yeah, if we can make it more of a journal, that would be exactly, that would be nice for sure. And wow, we are at the we're at closing time for me here. I have a meeting right after this. Fun for me, right? So, all right, everybody, walk us out for the day here. Um, Sorry, just logging out of some software I have to log out of. All right, now I got this all organized. Oh, for the links that I give, um, just make sure anything that I give you, save it to your cloud really quick. Save it to your cloud, and then you'll have it forever and ever and ever. This way, if I end up deleting it, you have it saved into your cloud. It's saved under your own however that works. My pleasure. Thank you all very much. I greatly appreciate everybody that comes in here. I'm a big believer in community culture, and that's what we're doing together here. So, as I always say, I've got an agenda, but I want people to subscribe to Trade Ideas. We want more subscribers always, but people are only going to stay subscribers if they're provided the support that they need to succeed. There's things that we can help with, obviously things we can't help with, but we do what we can, and we're trying to improve that support constantly. A lot of work going on behind the scenes right now to get some better support for you folks, not just on the education of the software itself, but trading itself too. So appreciate that. Real fast, TRD, I'll look at that CLVR real fast. What do we got going on here? Huge base earnings, obviously the big catalyst on that, rocketing up. You're going to have to stay here now. The trend is obviously very low, very down. Obviously, very, I won't say overdone. And as you can see, I've gone very clean on my charts now. I got rid of, I don't have almost any indicators on my daily chart. Just the position low of 20 days is on my daily chart now, in the main area anyways. I got an RSI here and volume here. So now, you're going to need it to consolidate here if you want, a non-chasing entry. If, you want to chase it, obviously you can do so. I think, you got a pretty clear $2. If you're under $2, you're back down below $1 probably. I guess I don't even know where it came from. Back down to $1.20. So you have to decide what you're willing to give up to get in, essentially. But, that's what you're looking at here. I see botanical, so it must be a pot stock, I'm guessing. And it's got work to do. There's no defined up level. Like, you're going to be at the mercy of the quarters at this point. What I mean by that is, resistances will be at, 375, $4, 425, 450. Those will be resistance points. Now, can it blast through any one of those? Obviously, but those will be the resistance points you want to look at. And as far as support coming back down, you're all the way down here to a $2 level. So you're looking at, this closed at 4. It's given some up afterwards after the hours, but you're looking at it, a $2, a possible $2 fall, and that could happen just like that, obviously. So that's kind of what you're looking at for that chart. So, so that's that. All right, let me wrap up here, folks. I gotta meet with Barry afterwards because we're gonna probably transfer to this new platform that we're using moving next week. Again, I thank you all very, very kindly for coming in, hanging out with us. Barry will be back next week, early Monday morning. Fearless leader as always. Monday, I believe, will be Sean for now, still, anyways. At the noon session, and then Barry back again at 1 Eastern, and myself at 3:30. So, and as I said, as these new changes unfold, I'll try to make it as smooth as a transition as possible for everybody. But I think in the long run, it'll be better for everybody overall. So again, thank you all very much. I will end the broadcast now, and we will catch you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Take care.